Hi guys, welcome to Metal and Rock Zone. What we're doing here today is that we're going to do a review on the new Ozzy Osbourne album, Patient Number 9. And we're also going to talk about how we evaluate an album from an artist like Ozzy that has set the bar really high in the past. And what's next for him after this? Where does Ozzy go from here? Ozzy is kind of one of those institutions, he's been around, he's been making music longer than I've been alive. He's one of those things that has kind of always been there. And it's actually really fitting somehow that he comes out with an album the day after the Queen of England dies. Uh, she is an institution as well, and may she rest in peace. Ozzy and the Queen met in 2006. There was a concert at Buckingham Palace, but he has not been knighted or honored by the Queen yet. There have been 3 petitions. I think the third one is actually ongoing right now to get him honored by the Queen. Now that will obviously not happen with her, but it might happen with the king, the new king. And Ozzy has taken to social media where he has paid his respect, and he has said in these exact words, "I mourn with my country the passing of our greatest queen. With a heavy heart, I say it is devastating the thought of England without Queen Elizabeth II." And a lot of other musicians have actually gone online and paid the respect to the late Queen. And as I said, these are 2 very kind of legendary institutions of England somehow. And I think a lot of people think, when they think England, they think of the Queen, they think of Ozzy, and maybe Elton John, the Beatles, Rolling Stones. Let's have, okay, the list is long. Anyway, onto the album. It's Ozzy's 13th solo album, and I mean, of course, he had made other albums with Black Sabbath before, and he announced this album kind of very soon after he put out Ordinary Man. Like 3 or 4 days later, he said, "I'm working on a new album." And he uses the same producer, Andrew Watt. It's a young guy that kind of has a pop background. He played with Justin Bieber as a guitarist. Some people wouldn't even know that Justin Bieber uses a guitar, but he does. And he's done music with Cardi B and stuff like that. And his catalog actually of work is quite interesting. The guy is 32 or something. And I was a little bit skeptic about having him on because I didn't like that last album, Ordinary Man, at all. So I was like, okay, that's not great. And I think I'll come to that later, but I think you can feel it a little bit on the album, that pop influence somehow, or this kind of new way of making music influence. But on the other hand, I do get it also. I mean, Ozzy is only 70 something, so he needs to keep himself current, and it can appeal to a new audience, and people that haven't listened to Ozzy before might start listening to this because of how it sounds. Now, but on the other hand, the team that they got together for this album is like a national team of musicians. You have Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath, you have Zakk Wylde that's played with Ozzy for ages, you have Robert Trujillo, who's in Metallica and played with Ozzy before. Is Jeff Beck on guitars. He's got Duff McKagan and Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers. Taylor Hawkins, the late Taylor Hawkins on drums, Mike McCready from Pearl Jam, Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age, and Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction, and the bassist, what's his name, Chris Chaney from Jane's Addiction as well. I mean, this is like an assemble of gods or something like that. And the interesting thing is that there is this English band from 1963 that almost got reunited on this album. There was one guy missing, and I will tell you later in the video what band that is. English band, 1963. Try to guess what it is. Write it in the comments if you got it. So the album starts off really, really well. The title song, Patient Number 9, is really cool, has a really nice energy, and I feel that the second song, Immortal, also it kind of kicks off really nicely, and it has there's a lot of strong songs on this. I mean, like there is the song with Eric Clapton where I feel like Clapton brings the old Clapton back a little bit, the guitar playing, and that's really cool, like a wow-wow pedal and all that stuff. Nothing Feels Right, that was released as a single, also is a great song, and that grows. That song grows. Degradation Rules with Tony Iommi, where they use the harmonica, kind of takes you a little bit back to what's it called, the Black Sabbath song, The Wizard. So there's a lot of kind of cool moments on this album, and there are interesting songs also where I didn't necessarily feel that fit it. Like there is this Beatles vibe song called Thousand Shades. The chord progression is really interesting there, but it's a good song. But for this album or for Ozzy, I was a little bit like, okay, yeah, this should have rather been on Ordinary Man maybe or something like that. But Ozzy is in good form, you know. His lyrics are good. He's a lot about death, immortality, mental health. I'm pretty sure that this album was very affected by his health issues that have been plaguing him for the last 2 years. And some serious deep questions about the purpose of life and stuff like that. And then I think on to the goods and the bads of this, and my rating of it. First of all, the band is Yardbirds. That's Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin. Jimmy Page was not on this album, but they were all in Yardbirds. And I think if he would have been on this album, it would have been the first time that they were all three on the same album, because I'm not sure. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think Yardbirds were never all three of them at the same time. So on to the rating. Should you listen and buy? So the good side about this album is that it's all the extras that come from that team of artists that he brings in. Every song has a flavor. Every song has a character that is brought on by the artists that are supporting Ozzy on this. Ozzy seems to be switched on. The lyrics are good. And I often think about it like with albums, okay, if it has more than 3 strong songs, then it's a good album. And this one definitely has. There are songs there that I don't like this Dead and Gone. There's a song called Parasite where, I'm on to the negatives now. Parasite, which kind of starts off rocky and goes into more of a poppy thing. And that's where I really feel that it shines through the production of this album somehow. And that's another negative thing that I feel is that I miss the rawness. I miss it's for me it's overproduced in some way, and I miss the rawness. Now I get it that like we have technology. This album wasn't all recorded in one studio. It was recorded a lot of it remotely, and I also do get it that maybe this is what you need to get the best out of a 70-something-year-old Ozzy, you know. So I get why, but it just when it's Ozzy, you want your old Ozzy. You always want your old Ozzy somehow. 13 songs, I think I can't say it's too long, but somehow listening to all 13 in a row, then it kind of feels long. But each song individually is very strong, so maybe it's not fair to judge it like that. I mean, I don't think anyone listens to 13 songs from one artist in a row anyway in 2022. And then I was thinking, okay, so how do I evaluate this album? How can I give it a rating and a review? And how can I tell you if you should listen and buy it or whatever? And I think with someone like Ozzy, he invented metal. He was there when it started with Black Sabbath. He did a really good solo career. The first few albums are great. And he has had such a big impact on this whole type of music, you know, that like he set the bar very high, and you always want that. You want that old Ozzy, you want that old stuff, you always want that. I mean, they're still playing Crazy Train in the NBA in the US and in football matches and whatever, you know, like these are legendary classic songs that will live way beyond Ozzy, you know. So it's even unfair to say we want this. You know, the guy is 70 something and he's doing his best and he's still bringing out good music. So I thought, okay, so what if this was a different band? Well, if it was not Ozzy, if it was just some band and they would have put out this album and somebody would give it to me and I would listen to it, would I like it? And the answer is yes. I would actually like this album even if it wasn't Ozzy. The last 2 albums I listened to only because it was Ozzy, and I didn't like them, but I listened just because it's Ozzy, you know. This one I actually like, regardless of whether it's Ozzy or not. And I think if I compare it to his previous albums, then I would put this out one there with No More Tears, Ultimate Sin, and Osmosis, somewhere in that category. And maybe if it would have been a little bit more raw, it could even have kind of got to the category above that, like with the first ones. So I'm going to give this album 8.5. And I think the more I will listen to it, the closer to 9 it will get. And you should go and listen to this album. You should go and get it. I think the singles, all 3 of them, kind of represent quite nicely what is on this album. And yeah, those three songs kind of grew on me. So, and I think if you like those, then you're gonna like more of this album. Now on to the question, what's next for Ozzy? He's been the Prince of Darkness since I was born. So now the Queen is gone. Maybe it's time for the Prince to become king. But I'm not sure that's going to happen. But he's going to move back to England. He's been saying that he's given up on America. He wants to go back to Birmingham. And who knows? I mean, if you read Ozzy's biography, you can easily imagine that he could become something completely different, because this guy is completely, how do you say, unpredictable. You can never imagine or say where Ozzy will end up. And so, yeah, don't be surprised. But I think he will keep making music for sure. And I really do hope that he gets more healthcare, or how do you say, more support, so that he can go back out on the road. I saw him play yesterday. He played last night in an NFL game in LA. And when I saw that video, I was thinking the Elvis movie. I don't know if you guys have seen that movie. If you haven't, you should check it out, because they are indicating that the people around Elvis kind of taking advantage of him, even though he was too sick to perform, because Ozzy didn't look like he should be on that stage. And I say this with a heavy heart, because I have tickets for his concert here in Prague, and I would really like to go. It's been cancelled 3 times or postponed, and I really hope that he gets his health together. But I would prefer that they take care of him, and that they wrap him in cotton, and that he makes more music. And who knows, maybe he will go on a tour. I hope so, but I only want what's best for Ozzy. And we don't have a lot of those institutions left, and Ozzy is one of them, and I want to protect it. Feel free to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment. I love the comments, so I would love to hear from you, and have a great day. Thank you.